What's up guys? So I stopped by the Dollar Tree today and I seen this snow globe that I wanted to DIY. And this snow globe is so cool because they give you two different caps, the first cap and then the second cap is what's going to seal it in if you do add water to this. They gave you directions in the inside on how to make a water snow globe. But today we are not making a water snow globe. I did make a water snow globe in my previous video and I will link it below if you want to see it. It is Olaf and I'm showing it right now. It was a little bit of a fail, which is why I'm glad that I kept this one dry, but you can go check that out to see what happens. The next thing I bought was this pack of faux snow at the Dollar Tree as well, and I like this snow because it has those round balls to it, styrofoam balls. I do still have that snow from Hobby Lobby, but we're going to be using this instead. And then I have these candy canes from Hobby Lobby. Now the Dollar Tree does sell candy canes, but I like these because they're resin and not plastic. Then we have the floral wire from the Dollar Tree. This air dry clay that I'm going to be trying for the first time at the Dollar Tree as well. And then I stopped by Joann's. This is what inspired the whole thing. And I seen these buttons for The Nightmare Before Christmas. One set has a full Jack, Sally, Zero, and some smaller buttons. And then the other buttons are just the heads of Shock, Lock, and Barrel, and then Jack and Sally again. Let's see, they were regularly about $5 or $6. Joann's was having a sale on some of their buttons. I don't know if it was all of their buttons, but I did end up buying each of them at $2.99 a piece. Came out to $5.98 subtotal before tax. Still very inexpensive. I just want to mention that because I know, like I said, when it comes to these Dollar Tree DIYs, you want to stick to as many Dollar Tree products as possible. But like I said in my previous Christmas DIY, you just cannot just depend on the Dollar Tree for everything. From my previous Dollar Tree Halloween DIYs, this year I did have this necklace that has these skull heads and skull bones on them, so I am going to be using a couple of the heads just to glue onto the snow globe. Doesn't matter which color because it's getting painted. I'm going to be taking 5 skull heads and hot gluing them to the cap of the snow globe. It's it's the one that obviously is going to be the first thing that you open and the second thing that you close on the snow globe, and this is going to help the snow globe stand up higher, but also it's going to have that Halloween type of flair because what I'm doing is I'm making this snow globe where you can either use it during Halloween or you can use it during Christmas. Before I get into any painting, I am going to take that plastic cap now, the one that seals off the water, and I'm going to hot glue Jack and Sally on there. Since Jack's dog Zero is a flying dog, well, he's a ghost, I decided that I was going to hang him from the snow globe at the top. I thought to take part of the necklace that had the skeleton bones on there, but that was too thick, so I'm going to take this floral wire, and because these are buttons and has that hole back there, I'm going to loop the floral wire through there. And then what I'm going to do is have to glue the rest of the floral wire to him. Well, not the rest of it, but, a little bit to him so that it's not flipping over. Because if you try to loop it through somewhere near the bottom or half of it, it's just going to keep flipping over, as you can see. So just hot wire it to it. I mean, hot glue it to it, not hot wire it, but you're hot gluing the hot wire to the back of it. And then we're going to cut some of the wire off, wrap it around kind of like in a circle at the top of the wire so that it's hanging flat up against it. So you want that circular part to be flat up against the top of the ball. And of course, periodically throughout this DIY, I'm just checking to make sure that everything is, the type of length that I want it to be, so nothing is touching anything, hanging too low, up too high. So like I said, I'm going to be going in with that Apple Barrel matte paint in the shade Snow White to start painting the skulls at the bottom, but I'm also going to paint the cap too because the cap to me looks too cheap and plastic, and of course when it comes to paint just automatically ups any quality. But I am just going to paint the skulls for now, and then I'll paint the cap later. For the next part, I'm going to be moving on to that air dry clay, and this is my first time ever using clay. I don't even know if I used clay as a kid, but I'm going to be using that, some wax paper that you can get at the Dollar Tree, and then some paints that I have that I am going to use the next day. I don't even know why I'm showing that right now because it's going to be used a while from now. Wax paper is just a good way to keep things from sticking to it. And this air dry clay, like I said, is from the Dollar Tree, $1.25. I heard that they also sell Crayola, and I seen online that they sell it. Now, they did not have it at any of my Dollar Trees. I guess you just have to be lucky to see it. I think I heard that Crayola brand is better quality than this brand. I think this is just the Dollar Tree's Crafter Square brand. I read on here that the best way to mold the pieces together is to use water and keep wetting your hands up, your fingers up with the water so that it could join the pieces and smooth them together. Now, when I do my SFX videos, those looks for my Halloween videos, I use the nose and scar wax from, who is that, Midnight, I think, and then the Graftobian modeling wax. Don't quote me on that brand that I just named, but yeah, Graftobian modeling wax and that nose and scar wax from the other brand. So when I use those products, you have to use Vaseline to keep the pieces joined together, because especially with nose and scar wax, it cracks, it falls apart very easily. With this clay, you have to use water. Now, what I will say is, what I experienced with this clay is that it's really good at smoothing things out, but it's terrible at curving things. So that little curve that's going to be in the Nightmare Before Christmas mountain, and you can see it on my phone right there, that's that mountain that's in the movie. I'm going to be replicating that. So this clay is just, it's a pretty decent clay, especially when you're thinking about the price point. But yeah, it's just, it cracks so bad when you try to curve it, and it just falls apart, and there's nothing that I could do about that. I tried to keep wetting my fingers up with the water just to join the pieces together, and it just kept falling apart. So I will say that in the end, I do think that this clay is worth it, but just keep in mind that when you go to try to curve things and, you know, twirl it, it's just going to break apart, and there's nothing that you could do. Now, I was wondering if I could use that Vaseline. I didn't try it in this video because there's just so many parts to this DIY that I'm doing, and I just did not want to waste time. So I wonder if you can use Vaseline on a product like this. But yeah, the water does help. It's just that when you go to curve stuff, there's just nothing that you can do to keep it from breaking apart. Now I'm just going to move on to the cap again, and I'm going to paint the skulls again, because you can see that these skulls turned yellow. Now I will say that either use like some sort of paint plus primer spray, or you're gonna have to prime these before painting them, because that orange will run, I don't know, like this material, this shiny material is causing it to turn a different color. It's not that big of a deal, because like I said, this is like Christmas and Halloween based at the same time, so it can have that creepy appearance. But I am just going to do a second layer for the skulls, and then I'm also going to paint the cap white. Now that the paint has finished drying, I'm going to take that Apple Barrel matte paint in a shade black, and I'm just going to paint the eyes, because when you think about Jack's eyes, and you can see him over there in the corner looking, his eyes have that black, and his mouth also has the black, but I didn't feel like painting the skulls the black, so I'm just going to paint the eyes black, and just paint all of the skulls that way. I'm just going to take the buttons for shock, barrel, and lock and cut the back of them off. So this is what I do whenever I have these buttons, but I want to glue them to something. Just cut the back off, and then we can glue them to that the cap that closes the snow globe. So I'm going to start off by gluing barrel first, and he's going to be on the front of it. Then we're going to glue lock, which is the red one, and he's going to go on the right side, well, our right side, that thing's left side of the cap. By the way, I am gluing them like above each skull that's at the bottom, so they're gonna go kind of like symmetrical with it. And then the last one I'm gonna glue is shock, and he's gonna go on the left side, our left side, that thing's right side. And I took inspiration from that scene when Oogie's boys, because these are Oogie's boys, when they were in that tub and they took off in the tub because the tub has legs. So this kind of reminds me of it. And then for the candy canes, I'm going to hot glue them in a cross on the back. And see, this is that part where I said that when you have it facing the way of Oogie's boys, it can look very Halloween. And then if you turn it this way with the candy canes, it can look Christmas. So that's why I said that you can have this for both holidays. Just turn the snow globe around a certain way. Now that the mountain is dried overnight, you can see how it looks. The mountain is hard, by the way, so it has to get hard. It takes, about 24 hours for it to dry. And then also the curved part, like I said, I couldn't get it curved all the way, so you can see how curved I was able to get it. And I'm now going to start painting. So I'm going to paint the whole thing that Apple Barrel matte black paint. And also, as I was painting it, I can feel that that curved part where I did get it curved in the inside, it acted like it wanted to break off. So that's why I was saying, like, there's just nothing that you could do to keep it together. I didn't have any problems with it coming apart, but I was thinking that if it did, I would just, glue it back together. While that dries, I decided to paint this thing that Jack and Sally are standing on. I painted it matte white. It's just, again, these caps look too cheap and plasticky, and like I said, that paint just helps up that quality. You don't have to, and I would be careful with something like this if you are going to add water, because I don't know how well, after you paint this, how well it would seal that water off at that point, because it may change the way it fits. So yeah, this is going to be an optional part. Now that the mountain is dry, what I'm going to do is take some toothpicks and the Apple Barrel matte paint in the shade Country Gray, which is just a gray tone. And I'm going to take those picks and help me kind of add that texture to it. Now, I was thinking about doing this while the mountain was drying, because I think that it would have been cool to take the picks and kind of stick those lines in there. But again, because this clay is kind of cheaper, I didn't want to risk breaking it. So yeah, I'm just going to use this type of technique to paint that type of texture into it. And you want to paint on the mountain where light usually hits. So closer to the sides of the mountain and under the mountain, you're not going to paint that part, because that's where the light wouldn't hit, and it would cast a shadow, if anything, under there. So we're just going to focus mostly on the top of it. Once it all dried, this is how the mountain turned out. And then the part where Jack and Sally are sitting on, I decided to add a little bit of glitter to that as it was drying. Again, this is optional. You don't have to do the paint, and you definitely don't have to do the glitter either. So now I'm just going to start sticking it down. And this is one thing that I noticed with clay. Like I said, I've never used clay before, so I didn't know how you were supposed to stick it down either. But hot glue does not work. You have to have some sort of glue in a tube. So you can have E6000 glue, Loctite glue. I like that glue as well, including E6000, Glorilla. Oh my gosh, not the rapper, but Gorilla Glue. But yeah, you can clearly see how many times I tried to use that hot glue. I ended up wasting a lot of hot glue, but every time I tried to put it on, I was like, why is it just not sticking right? One thing I will say though is this E6000 glue I've had for a couple of years. While it does still have glue in there, the glue is more like a jelly texture. I think when I first got it, it was more of like a liquid texture, but this right here is more of a gel. It still worked, but yeah, I just want to let you know that your E6000 glue can last a while, but it does change up the formula and the texture of it.
Oh shoot. Mm.
Oh my gosh. That was me just making a mess as usual. I was trying to set the snow globe upright, but it kept turning over. I'm just going to put the snow in there. I'm going to start off by doing this part first, and then I will remove the snow and do the next version of this. So I'm just going to show you two different ways that you can set up your Nightmare Before Christmas snow globe. This is the first version of this snow globe. Another way is to add water. Now, again, I don't know how well water would hold up. Well, how well the glue would hold up with the water inside. You could try that on your own, but I didn't want to risk messing up any of the glue after I set it up so perfect. Moving on to the third version, which is the way I'm going to keep it. So I found this image of Oogie Boogie online, and that picture that I kept showing earlier, like the promo picture for The Nightmare Before Christmas, you can see the moon is back there, so you can add a regular version of the moon, but I found this version online with Oogie Boogie in the moon, which is perfect because it just adds another character from the movie. And then for the words, The Nightmare Before Christmas, I actually went on to an app, typed the words in and curved them around so we can add the words that way as well. And then I'm just going to cut the circle out, and I'm going to hot glue it, well, not hot glue it because that would tear that paper up. I'm going to Mod Podge it in the inside. And you know, I always like to fit things up first to see how it's going to look. So I just put it in the inside, just fit it to it. And then for the Mod Podge part, I'm going to keep it around the edges of the paper. Because this is a circle, will prevent the paper from straightening. It won't stay straight. It will kind of bend the paper. So you definitely just want to glue the edges of the paper to the round circumference of the of the snow globe. You know, you understand what I'm trying to get at? Yeah, you'll just be able to see it a little bit better than I can explain it. And this is how it turned out with the picture in the inside, which I think is just so cute to have it back there to look like that promo picture for the movie. I really like how this turned out. Again, you can't add water to this because at this point, not only are you at risk of, you know, breaking down the glue, but you're also at risk of tearing up the paper. So just keep it like this. Another thing that you can do if you do want to do something like this for Halloween is you can paint around it black. I'm going to insert a short I did for Halloween and show you what I mean by how you can paint it but still see in the inside. For Halloween, one of my DIYs, I did this Dollar Tree cloche dome, and this is the part where I said that you can paint the outside of it to just show what's in the inside. You can paint around it black, which I think is so cool. I am going to show you the rest of how this part came out just in case you did not see this DIY and you just want to take inspiration of it following the, what is this called again? The snow globe. It's like, how many times did I call it a snow globe? And I can't even remember that it's a snow globe. Oh, and you can also use those LED lights as well. The LED lights I just added in the cloche dome. I think that would be cute to add into the snow globe if you didn't want to add the water in. You can add the LED lights in instead. And see, this is what I was saying about the LED lights, that you can add them in certain places. But yeah, that would be cool to put the LED lights in here. I don't know exactly how that would work, but it's worth a shot. If you are like a DIY king or queen, you can also in some way, I don't know, maybe from the bottom, add in like a little tiny fan or something that can make the those snowballs move around in the inside. Another way to add a little something to it to keep it moving if you don't want to add water. So yeah, just a bunch of different ways. There's endless DIYs. Again, I don't know how that will work either, but it's another thing that's worth a shot. Right here, I was just kind of showing how the black paint would look, just to give you an idea, having that paper up against it. But for my previous DIY, which was the Olaf snow globe that actually had water in there, that was a complete fail for me. I did add a snowflake on top of it, the sticker, so I am going to do that for the Nightmare Before Christmas one, just to hide that glue, because I was like, that glue is annoying, so this was a good way to just conceal that glue up there, because there was no way that you wasn't going to have that showing. I think that maybe if I had the E6000 glue, I would have had a better chance of less glue being shown, but of course I used the glue gun. So yeah, that's the last part of this. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my other DIYs that will be linked and stuff like that, and I will see you guys in my next DIY.